Hey guys, it's Kara with Green Heart Glowing. Welcome back to another video and a new energy reading for you, starting with an angel card to open the energy. Respect. Wisdom of the Oracle. Oh, it just freaking popped out. Deep Knowing. That just jumped out of the deck, so we're gonna go with that. Well then, make thyself known. Card 43. Intuition is the faculty that allows you to enter into a dialogue with Source, the consciousness that you are a part of but cannot see with the naked eye. It's perplexing that people are taught to ignore this natural capacity to navigate their journeys, to access their inner guidance. Know that you have an ability to read between the lines and find all the truth that was missing when the story was told. This deep knowing allows you to open the door to wisdom far greater than what is available in the limitations of human experience. You're given information that may make no sense whatsoever to the logical mind or five senses, but which is 100% correct and true. Can relate. The trick is to listen and then to act accordingly. You're now invited into this sacred dialogue of deep knowing, so tune in and trust your vibes. They will be right. Ask and you will receive answers from unusual sources. Well, we're in quite an intense period of time. My last video, I was talking about the eclipses that were currently sandwiched between, but that first eclipse being particularly intense and emotional. And I recorded that video actually 2 days before I posted it. So I didn't have yet the knowledge of the shooting and all of the intensity that all brought up, but I was feeling this emotional just explosion energy. So that's really brought out a lot of shadow. Like I said in my previous video, you get put into situations that trigger that emotional response to bring that wound up and out and bring that shadow out into the open so that you can feel it and experience it and work with it. And that is very much what I'm seeing is happening since this eclipse and leading into this next eclipse, which will be on September 21st. What I also wanted to mention is that right now Pluto is out of bounds. And basically what an out of bounds planet means is that it starts to take on more of the extreme versions of what that particular planet and sign have going on within that energy field, and also are less likely to be sort of paying attention to the rules, so to speak, of the way the system works. The out of bounds planet is kind of over here doing its own thing and being more rebellious and kind of having more of a freedom to live without rules. And that started on August 29th for Pluto, which will go for the next decade. And the last two times that Pluto was in Aquarius out of bounds, and I'm going to actually read this just because I want to make sure I'm getting it correct, 1778 to 1788, which coincided with revolutions and power shifts away from monarchies. And then the second was 1938 to 1953, which included World War II and the rise of the nuclear age and power becoming concentrated and centralized. And I'm not like bringing that all up to scare anybody, but I feel strongly that Pluto's influence has also played a role, not just the eclipse energy, but this Pluto out of bounds and still retrograde until October. Pluto is retrograde. really is going in, like digging all the way down and bringing all the kind of blood and guts and the bottom of the barrel stuff to the surface. And I know that that can be some of the hardest energy for people to experience and want to work with and look at. I particularly resonate the most with Pluto as a planet, like as an energy. I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart, but beyond that, I just feel more aligned with that deep shadow work and the energies that are unseen and get less paid attention to, but control so much of our waking experience, the way that we move through sort of hiding the shadow from others, but living alongside it nonetheless. And you can really feel that in people that have denied their shadow and are pretending like they're just really, really, really good people. But then they go and do those secretive things that start coming out in news headlines where people are like shocked, like, oh my God, I can't believe that person could do something like that. And that is the type of person that is denying their Pluto energy, like pushing away their Pluto energy rather than looking at it and working with it in a way that kind of integrates it into a whole person that feels balanced and isn't denying that we all have light and shadow to work with. So I wanted to mention that about Pluto being out of bounds because I think that's going to be a huge factor in the next decade and is part of this amplification of energy happening now within eclipse season. So the next eclipse will be September 21st, and that is a new moon in Virgo. And that energy should be a bit lighter and sort of more of a wrapping up and completing the energy of this entire eclipse portal. But not only that wrapping up energy, it will also be opposing Saturn in Pisces at 28 degrees Saturn in Pisces. And the last time that Saturn was in Pisces was May of this year, 2025. And in my own life in May, I had this feeling of like there was a huge ending and beginning feeling of just knowing that something was completely finished and that I was ready to move forward into something new. If you look actually at my channel, this channel, the like about me section, May is when I created this channel. I didn't start posting at that time, but I just already, it was like the seed was planted. I knew that that was what was going to start happening. And that was also the first time I've ever interacted with AI. Like I actively went to ChatGPT for the first time and had like conversation with ChatGPT, which was absolutely insane. And because for me, I'm interested in wanting to experience like what is this new energy coming in and how is this all like looking and feeling with the world? Like what will it feel like to interact with AI? And so that was the first time that that ever happened for me was May. And I also knew I had a career change track happening. And that was the month that I figured it out. And I just knew something changed in me. And as well as knowing that my soul dog was getting ready to die. And she did end up passing in June. But in May, I could feel that that was happening, that the change was coming. So look back to May and see what was very clearly ending and what was beginning, because that same energy is going to be part of this eclipse coming up on September 21st. And with an eclipse in Virgo happening, this is the way that I've learned is a really helpful sort of grounding method to not only work with during eclipse season, but any time of the year where you're feeling overwhelmed by the amplification of the energy happening in the world. See what sign the moon is in. The moon is the emotional body. So when you see what sign the moon is in, do whatever that sign would do in order to ground itself. because every sign is going to be different. That'll look different for every sign. So right now, with this eclipse coming up in Virgo, Virgo has a really hard time when things are out of their control. They want to know the details. They want to have the plan in place. They want to schedule things out and organize things. So in order to help Virgo feel like they have a little bit more ground to stand on, do an autumn cleaning, like how we do spring cleanings. But focus this on intentionally taking a look at your space and finding one or two things that you're ready to release. We clutter ourselves up energetically by having so much clutter around us, and then we just keep collecting it and stuffing it into drawers without realizing how much it does impact our energy body and our mental space. That's a really good way to interact with the amplification that is coming up with this next eclipse, and to intentionally clear a space so that you're ready to receive what wants to come to you. We really do have like a powerful relationship to things in our home. Our homes carry our energies, just like our animals do, and just like our cars do. And so often we're just kind of like moving around on autopilot and not realizing that maybe the stagnant energy is actually coming from just not having given any real thought or care to, like the Marie Kondo method, honestly, of like, what is in my space? What is my energy feeling like, or what things are impacting my energy space? And every time I've gone through and decluttered my space, even just looking at one thing like an old shirt, or I don't know, anything, it can be, just whatever is sitting there collecting dust. And I've said, thank you so much for being in my space and for giving me joy when I, felt it with this particular item. And now it's time to release it. And that gives this emptiness, but something comes to replace it. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be a new object or a new shirt, although that's like likely what, we consume and we keep consuming. But it also works on the level of bringing in new energies in the form of experiences, jobs, people. That subtle process of intentionally clearing your space makes such a huge difference in the rest of your life. And also, Virgo can tend to, because they like to know the back process of everything and research deeply and want to have sort of all the facts and the information so that they aren't left blindsided, there can be an overloading of information, too much coming in, too much research happening, and the energy channels get locked up and blocked that way as well. So doing your best to simplify and to notice when you're going down the rabbit hole, like we all do. What can even be helpful as a practice is not putting in headphones everywhere you go, and not listening to podcasts everywhere you go, and kind of disconnecting yourself from like the actual world around you. Like if you're spending 10 hours a day on your phone, really take a serious look at that. And I'm saying all of that because that can be such a huge decluttering that needs to happen in order for us to be able to put down all this intense energy and have space to be in our own experience and process the emotions that we need to sit here and be with, and not get swept up into all of this that's happening out there, which is very hard to do. And I'm not being judgy or preachy in any way, because I am right there in the same boat with every other human on the planet that's going through the struggle of phone addiction, honestly. So, but all of those things are part of how our energy gets hijacked, and how everything starts to feel cluttering, and you can't feel like you can ever stop and breathe, because there's always a new headline. There's always something else that you can read and look at. So I'll go ahead and wrap up this energy reading and pull a Nature's Whispers card. Shit, another card just dropped. I'm either clumsy or something is like hitting me today. No. Inner truths and deep knowing. I have literal chills. Like, those cards feel so related, and they both jumped out of the deck today. I'm feeling like I have literal goosebumps right now. Could you even see that? It's just my tattoo. Look, goosebumps. I'm not kidding. All right. Inner truths. There is a lot of depth to your feelings. You are on your way to understanding your feelings and desires more clearly. The next steps on your path will soon reveal themselves. Stay vigilant to new opportunities that may lead to the beginnings of novel projects or assist with current ventures. Look around you and within you. Be willing to do the work at the deepest level, as you will find jewels of wisdom, knowledge, and the inner voice all waiting patiently to assist you. Nature's crystals are created deep within the earth. Go deep and find your own treasures. Deep, deep knowing. Ugh. Okay. Well, that was amazing. And I'll end with this quote. Times are difficult globally. Awakening is no longer a luxury or an ideal. It's becoming critical. We don't need to add more depression, more discouragement, or more anger to what's already here. It's becoming essential that we learn how to relate sanely with difficult times. The earth seems to be beseeching us to connect with joy and discover our innermost essence. This is the best way that we can benefit others. And that's from Pema Chödrön. Oh, such a good one. And as always, that quote is in my description box, as well as a link to book a one-on-one session with me. And thank you so much for being here and sharing some of your energy with me today. Please like and subscribe. It really does help my channel out. And I'll be back soon for another energy reading. And let me know in the comments how you're getting on. Bye. Chug it, chug it. Hair in place, or else you're gonna hear about it from my lawyer. Hey guys, respect my authority. Wisdom of the Oracle. And want to paint it black. Oh, something itches right here. I have a hair touching me. Okay, what else am I gonna say? You understand? I've been listening to Juvenile too much today.